There was frustration Friday from New Yorkers who were dealing with flooded basements and damaged property. Storm drains simply could not keep up with the pounding rain earlier in the day. The water has since subsided, but the flooding was so bad, one restaurant owner told CBS New York she would have to swim through the street to reach her front door. Get ready for an astonishing video as we delve into the harrowing tale of New York's recent catastrophe. Join us until the end to witness the gripping about the terrifying flooding that engulfed Brooklyn, New York City, leaving the city submerged. This video is bound to leave you spellbound. Instead, she watched the water rise on her surveillance cameras, and by the time the flood went down, her outdoor dining structure had been washed away. That's just one New Yorker's story, but this storm reached everyone. New York Governor Kathy Hochul declared a state of emergency across New York City, Long Island, and the Hudson Valley due to extreme rainfall and flooding. The city also declared a state of emergency, as did New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy. The governor's declaration came as torrential rain pummeled the northeastern U.S. Her pleas for residents to stay home echoed by New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who had also asked New Yorkers to shelter in place. Most people heeded the call, the governor said Saturday, though at least 28 rescues were conducted by New York Emergency Services, she said. More than 7.25 inches or 18.41 centimeters of rain had fallen in parts of Brooklyn by nightfall, with at least one spot seeing 2.5 inches or 6 centimeters in a single hour, according to weather and city officials. The 8.65 inches or 21.97 centimeters at John F. Kennedy Airport surpassed its record for any September day, a bar set during Hurricane Donna in 1960, the National Weather Service said. The deluge came 2 years after the remnants of Hurricane Ida dumped record-breaking rain on the Northeast and killed at least 13 people in New York City, mostly in flooded basement apartments. Although no deaths or severe injuries have been reported so far from Friday's storm, it stirred frightening memories. Ida killed 3 of Joy Wong's neighbors, including a toddler, and on Friday, water began lapping against the front door of her building in Woodside, Queens. "I was so worried," she said. "It became too dangerous to leave. Outside was like a lake, like an ocean." Before we move on, support us by hitting subscribe and the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. Now let's get back to our topic. The reality staring city leaders in the face, including in places like New York, is that the climate is getting more extreme, more unpredictable, and requiring more investment, said Joseph Kane, a fellow who focuses on infrastructure at the Brookings Institute, a nonprofit think tank. Usually, it's too little too late. This changing weather pattern is the result of climate change, Rohit Agarwala, commissioner of the New York City Department of Environmental Protection, said during a press conference. And the sad reality is that our climate is changing faster than our infrastructure can respond. The physics of this sort of flooding is abundantly clear to atmospheric scientists. For every 1 degree Celsius of warming, air can hold 6 to 7% more water. That means more moisture is available for storms to dump. At the same time, as the planet warms, it sheds more energy by evaporation. Essentially, it sweats more. What goes up must come down as rain. Flights into LaGuardia Airport were briefly halted Friday morning and then delayed because of water in the airport's refueling area. Flooding also forced the closure of one of the airport's 3 terminals and caused flight disruptions at JFK Airport. More than a dozen subway lines were partially or fully suspended due to flooding conditions, according to the MTA. The National Weather Service issued flood watches throughout the tri-state area, Emergency Management Department Commissioner Jack Rieskel said. Throughout the morning and afternoon, rain continued to batter Manhattan and the surrounding boroughs. Parts of Queens and Nassau County have been hit with more than 7 inches of rain, Pix 11 news meteorologist Chris Cimino said. That's what some places get in an average of 2 months. On average, the U.S. is measuring 6% more precipitation now than it did a century ago. This increase comes in the wake of increasing global temperatures that scientists say are brought on by greenhouse gas emissions like carbon dioxide from the burning of fossil fuels for transportation and electricity. That means communities across the U.S. could face more instances of dangerous flooding. Cities, including New York City, are struggling to keep up. The New York Rangers and New York Islanders postponed a preseason game on Long Island. And at the waterlogged Central Park Zoo, a sea lion swam out of her swollen pool. With the zoo closed because of the weather, she looked around for a bit before returning to the pool, zoo officials said in the statement. In Brooklyn's Crown Heights, Jessie Lawrence awoke to the sound of rain dripping from the ceiling of her fourth-floor apartment and heard strange sounds outside her front door. She opened it to find the water was coming in thicker and louder, pouring into the hallway and flowing down the stairs, she said. The rain had pooled on the roof and was leaking through a skylight. On the ground, more of the Metro-North commuter railroad system reopened after being closed in New York City due to flooding. The New Haven line resumed service after flooding was cleared in the Bronx, and the Harlem line reopened in some sections. All 3 lines are now running, Metro-North said. New Yorkers were urged to stay home, but even home wasn't safe for many basement apartments in Brooklyn, as sewer systems back up and poured out of people's toilets and tubs. Laptops were destroyed, mattresses were destroyed, furniture destroyed, not to mention all the issues with the sanitation concerns. Williamsburg resident Thomas Trevison said, "The water actually comes back in through the main sewer line into the basement. Instead of going out, it comes in and shoots out like a freaking geyser," added Kelly Hayes, owner of Gowanus Garden Restaurant. On Friday morning, sewage filled her restaurant's basement, and outside floodwaters peaked at over 3 feet, drowning her outdoor dining structure and leaving it in pieces. "It's going to cost me $5,000 to $10,000 just to have the garbage hauled away, so that's not even building my business back," Hayes said. Hayes said by the time she got any kind of emergency alert from the city, it was too late. "Like the flash flooding is happening now, and we were already underwater," Hayes said. Healthy soil can be like a super sponge when it comes to absorbing rain and holding it. Typically, the soil is filled with tiny pores. When it rains, these small voids fill with water, and gravity will help push the water down even further into the soil. Once this soil exceeds its capacity, its draining power diminishes and flash flooding is possible. When it reaches this point, Mark Bradford, soils expert at the Yale School for the Environment, said, "Stay off the soil. When it gets this wet, the soil gets incredibly mushy," Bradford said. "You can damage it, the soil. Treat it gently and hold off any yard work or major projects to keep it healthy." Much of the soil in New York City is considered less healthy compared to what you might find in a forest or farm, according to Bradford. Urban soil has been compacted, so it has fewer pores and less capacity to retain water. That includes most city backyards and some park areas that have experienced erosion as a result of use. Eroded soil is characterized by having fewer roots in the ground, as a result of having less vegetation and fewer trees. Trees and vegetation contribute to healthy soils. The National Weather Service said there was a significant risk of flash flooding in urban and poor drainage areas. Excessive runoff could also result in flooded rivers, creeks, streams, and other low-lying and flood-prone locations. So that's it. Please like, share, and comment your thoughts below if you liked this video. Remember to subscribe to see our next video. Stay safe, and we will be back soon with another video.